Hello students, welcome to SAM classes. So this is the last part of the chapter, electric charges and fields. So basically in this part, we'll be studying about the different formulas, what are very important and very crucial for the KCET. Now the derivations we haven't done because we are not studying for PU or the CBSE boards. So derivations I have removed. Only the formulas and the stuff which is important I have kept it here. Okay, though I have written a bit here and there, but the most importance and focus should be given on the formulas part and bit small places where you need to know a bit stuff which KCT asks. Okay, so let's see. Now, electric charge is due to a dipole. So we already studied what is a dipole. Now we're trying to study what is the electric field produced by a dipole setup. So basically a dipole setup, as we can recall, is nothing but two equal and opposite charges separated by a small distance. Okay. Now, what is the dipole, electric field due to a dipole? We want to study. Now, first on that is at an axial position. The moment we listen to this word axial, what does it comes to the mind? What does it ring a bell? Okay, what does the word axial comes? Okay, so basically what does the axial line means is if you're taking a positive charge, okay, if you're taking a positive charge and a negative charge, the line joining the positive and the negative, any point lying on this line, let's say here, any point lying on this line is known as what is a point on the axial line, or this line is known as the axial line. Okay, so this is very important. So here in this case we are trying to find the electric field at point here. Okay, let's name it as P. At point P we want to find the electric field. Now we know due to this plus Q charge, okay, what will be the electric field? This side, it will push a positive charge here, it will push it this side, and this minus Q will attract it this side, correct? So the net electric field is equal to what? E of positive minus E of negative charge, correct? Now, we already know the electric field formula, that is equal to what? KQ by R square. So that is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q by here, what is the distance? Now the distance what we take is for the positive charge, it is how much? This total is R distance from the center we are measuring, student. Very important. And this is L from the center. So this part will be what? R minus L, correct? Pretty simple. So it will be R minus L the whole square. And if you see this part is L and this part is R. So for the E of minus Q, electric field will be 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q by R plus L whole square. Okay. Once we got this, we'll substitute in the formula and directly this part of the formula we need to mug it up. Okay. That is equal to E net is equal to 2 PR by 4 pi epsilon naught R square minus L square. Okay. Now what is this P? P is nothing but dipole moment, that is equal to charge into the length. Okay. So this is important. Okay. Now what we have to understand in this is E and P both are in the same direction. We know the direction of the dipole is what? From negative charge to the positive charge. Here also the same thing. The direction of the net dipole is from the same direction as that of the dipole moment. Okay. So P and E are on same direction. This concept we'll be using and we'll be solving a lot of KCT problems. Okay. Now, there is again a small concept of short dipole. What is a short dipole? If this R length becomes much greater than this dipole length, so what will happen? We can neglect the L square. So in that case scenario, what will be the formula? Electric field is equal to 2P by 4 pi epsilon naught R cube. Okay. So these two formulas are very important, students. Okay. So coming to the next is the equatorial. Now again, we need to understand what is an equatorial line. We need to understand what is an equatorial line. Pretty simple. The line which is perpendicular to the axial. Okay. So this is my axial line. So the line which is perpendicular to the axial and passing through the center of the dipole. So two conditions. First, the axial line, this line should be perpendicular and it should pass through the center. So basically what is it? It is just the perpendicular bisector of the axial line. Okay. So my voice got a bit, by shooting a lot of videos. It's got a bit cracked, so do bear it with. Okay, so I'll try to put up all the videos. Okay, a bit on the sound part. We are trying to work hard. Okay, so let's see. Now this charge minus q, it's trying to pull this, what do you say, towards itself, and this one is trying to push it. So by vector algebra, if you want the resultant will be somewhere in between. Now this, if somebody doesn't know, do what do you say, we'll be putting up the lecture on vectors also. Do watch it out how we are getting the resultant E net here. Now the direction of E net is what? Towards the left hand side. But if you see, the direction of the dipole is what? From negative to positive. So the direction of dipole moment is like this, and the direction of electric field is like this. So one very important point which you need to keep in mind is this one. The direction in equatorial case is what? Opposite. So electric field and the dipole moment, they are off in opposite direction. And the formula is 4 pi epsilon naught r square plus L square whole power 3 by 2. Okay. Now for a short dipole, you can neglect the 2L part. Okay. And then you'll get this formula P, what is the dipole moment divided by 4 pi epsilon naught r cube. Okay. So important thing is this part, very important. The direction, because the electric field direction is like this. Dipole direction is like this. Okay. So opposite direction means 180-degree direction. Okay. And that's it, and this formula. Okay. Now let's see the next page. Now what is the relation that comes up with axial and equatorial? So very simple. With this relation also, a lot of KCET questions will be solved. Your electric field at the axial is double that of equatorial. So axial is always greater than the equatorial. Okay. Now this part is not there for Policy KCT still. We have put up in case, very rare chances if it comes up. You should know at an angle theta, what will be the value? Electric field is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught P by R cube. Okay. Root under of 3 cos square theta plus 1. Now if I put theta is equal to 0 degree or 180 degree, we'll get the axial one. And if I put theta is equal to 90 degree, we'll get the condition of equatorial. Okay. Now dipole in a uniform external field. Now what we had is, we had a dipole and we kept in a external field. Okay. So what will happen? Due to this field, force will act on this plus q charge, it will be towards the left, towards the right, and on this minus q charge, it will be towards the left. So what it will do, it won't move it, but it will try to rotate it. So the moment rotation force comes, okay, so a torque comes, a rotating force comes means a couple or a torque comes. Okay. So let's say like a hinge, you're pulling one thing like this, and with the same force you're pulling like this. What will happen? From the center of this point, it will start rotating, correct? So same thing happens. Now, don't get very much confused and too much, what do you say, uh, don't get very much confused and too much scared by this. Torque, understand it's simple as a force, but it is rotating in nature. It doesn't make it move. It just makes it rotate. Okay. Now about the axis from the center. Okay. Now what is the formula of torque? Torque is nothing but either force. Both the forces same. So any of the force you take into perpendicular distance between them. Into this perpendicular distance between them. So I've taken this force and this force, and the perpendicular distance between them is this one. So force formula is what? F is equal to what? Charge into electric field QE, and this distance is what? 2L sine theta, because this was 2L, this is theta. If I want to use trigger, it will be what? 2L sine theta. Correct. So force is equal to QE into 2L sine theta. So charge into 2L, I know that is equal to P and E sine theta. So P and E sine theta, I can write it as P cross E. We already know A vector cross B vector is what? AB sine theta. Clear? Done. Now this part is also very important for KCT. Okay, so mug it up, very important. If theta is 0, then torque is also 0 and the condition is stable. So it is in stable equilibrium. Theta 90, torque is max, unstable. Theta 0, what is it? Theta 180, this is not unstable, neither stable nor unstable. Okay. Theta 180 degree, so torque will be 0, unstable equilibrium. So very important to understand what is stable, unstable. Let me show you with a small diagram. Okay. So let's say you have a bowl like this. You put a ball here. Now if you displace this either left side or right side, after the force you have removed the force, what will happen? It will come back to original. So that is known as stable. Stable means where the particles, once the external force is removed, it tries to come back to its original. Now next we have a neutral equilibrium. So this is it's a straight, what do you say, table, and you have kept a ball here. So the moment you displace like this, after walking some distance, after covering some distance, it will stop. So it will attain a new equilibrium. So that is known as neutral. Now what is unstable? Like let's say we have a bowl like this and you have kept something like this. So the moment you push up or you give an external force, it will start going down and it won't be able to come back to its equilibrium. So that is known as unstable. Okay. Now, the other important point, what we keep in mind, what we have to keep in mind is dipole in non-uniform electric field. What happens? The net force will never be zero, but the torque may or may not be zero depending on the orientation, how you're keeping it. Okay. So net force, translational force will never be zero if it is a non-uniform electric field. Okay. If the fields are like this, non-uniform electric field, in that case, the net force will not be zero, but the torque may be or may not be. Both the conditions are there. Okay. Now next work done. So since we have force, we have angular displacement, means a body is getting displaced by some angle. Let's say it was here initially I1 position. Now it got displaced by I2. So it is doing some work done. So what is that work done? P sine theta d theta. Okay, torque we already got P sine theta and d theta. Integrated, you will get work done is equal to P cos theta 1 minus cos theta 2. And this work done is also stored in the form of potential energy. Okay. Now, next is area vector. Now, area vector is very simple to visualize for any kind of thing. What is area vector? Outward normal. The normal or the perpendicular which is coming outside. Okay. So, what is area vector here? Outward normal. Always keep it in mind. Okay. For any kind of diagram. Let's say we have a cylinder. For this face, what is the outward normal coming out this side? For this face, this side. Correct. For this part, outward normal is up. Okay. Same. So flux is nothing but number of field lines and that is equal to E dot A or EA cos theta. Okay. The unit of flux is what? Newton meter square per coulomb. Next is Gauss law. So our Gauss said very, what is a simple thing and a very good thing. What he said is the total flux through any closed surface. Let's say one closed surface is there. You want to know what is flux? Number of field lines coming out of it. So the number of field lines that is coming out of this closed surface is nothing but how much charge is there divided by epsilon naught. So what is it? The total flux through any closed surface is equal to what? E dot ds, and that is equal to what? Charge contained inside that by epsilon naught. Correct? Very simple. Okay. So let's say for this part, if I want to know what is the total flux, what I'm going to do, I need to find what is the total charge. So if I see 2q positive charge, 2q negative, what is the net charge? Zero. So charge enclosed is zero. So flux will be also be zero. That's simple. Okay. So Gauss law states that the electric flux through any closed surface, electric flux means what? The number of field lines which are coming out of the surface. Okay, normally, so the field lines, okay, how much are they in number? That is equal to, that can be given by the charge enclosed, means how much charge is there inside this surface divided by epsilon naught. So the flux is nothing but equal to charge enclosed by epsilon naught. Okay, pretty simple formula. Now, applications of Gauss law here, you need to just know the formula, just given it up, that if you want to find the electric field due to an infinitely long straight wire, now the derivations are there for the PU. For KCET, we are not doing the derivations. Directly, the formula is electric field is lambda by 2 pi epsilon naught r. Now, a lot of students will ask, sir, what is this lambda, sir? Lambda is nothing but charge by length. Okay, lambda is known as linear charge density. That is how much charge is there per unit length. Like in 1 meter of length, how much is the charge? So you can get per unit of length, how much is the charge that is given by lambda. Okay. Coming to electric field due to a thin infinite plane sheet of charge. Electric field due to a thin infinite plane sheet of charge. So we have a plane sheet of charge. So due to this, what is the electric field is? That is equal to sigma by 2 epsilon naught. Sigma by 2 epsilon naught. What is the sigma again? This is surface charge density. How much charge is there per unit area? Lambda was linear charge density, charge by length. So spherical shell cut everything till here. Okay, we are starting spherical shell again. Now for the spherical shell, we know what happens. Charges stay outside. Okay, so when you're doing for R greater than capital R, so my Gaussian surface is taking up all the charge. Okay, the charge enclosed is what? Capital Q. So 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught by R Q R square. Correct. Now here also same thing when you are talking about outside one. So it is the same formula. Now it's basically similar to point charge. When it is at the surface, again same thing. Electric field will be is equal to Q by 4 pi epsilon naught R square. Okay, because Gaussian surface here also same. Now here this one is very important and this one. When you're taking it inside, what will happen? When you're taking it inside, what will happen? No charge is there inside. So electric field will be what? Zero. Because electric flux will be what? Charge enclosed, so charge enclosed by epsilon naught, so this is equal to 0. So electric field is equal to what? Flux is equal to E dot dA, correct. So electric field will also be 0 because no charge is contained inside. Now, for R less than R, here charges are there, so we have to find for this much small r, how much charges are there. So that's the formula is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught QR by capital R square. Okay, that is the this much. So that sums up. The last part is the diagram, the graph. For less than R, it's 0. Again, it starts from the top and starts decreasing as we move forward. Okay, the more and more distance increases. It starts from more, see, in this case, what happens inside also charges are there. The more bigger circles, more charge will contain. So it goes up to the max for the circumference R, and then the more you go outside, it will contain same charge, but the distance is increasing. So that's why electric field goes down. Okay, that's it, student.